PC users rejoice. It's been a minute since a console exclusive has felt so right for PC, but we're barreling towards the release of Stellar Blade for the personal computer. So the only real question is, can your build handle it? We've got the specs, the exclusive new platform features, and more. If you somehow missed the enormous reception for Stellar Blade last year, the game released exclusively on the PlayStation 5 by Korean developer Shift Up, their first console game in their decade-plus existence. The game was praised by fans and critics, earning itself a strong rating on OpenCritic with an 82 top critic average and a 90 in the player rating. So what kind of game is it? Well, it's a bit of a hodgepodge of recent trends. But if you're a fan of games like Elden Ring and Devil May Cry, and don't mind fighting the same boss over and over again until you master their pattern, Stellar Blade is a game for you. And the same goes for the stages, which usually contain some element of danger puzzles, requiring quick reflexes, jumps, and dodges before you even get to the aforementioned big boss fight. Which brings us to our first detail from the new PC features trailer: NVIDIA DLSS4 and AMD FSR3, also known as AI upscaling and frame generation. For those not in the know, this is a bit like motion smoothing on a TV, although a lot less intrusive. Rather than rendering the full frame of a sequence, this technology targets the gaps in between the frames, creating a smoother visual continuity. It's still somewhat controversial in the PC community, but according to this trailer, frame generation can improve the frame rate by nearly 3 times, from the low hundreds to the mid 300s. Not to mention, frame rates can now be completely uncapped. And like I mentioned before, this game involves tons of bosses with plenty of cues to help players dodge and block their attacks just in time. So the more frames you have, the easier it'll be to see the character move from one animation to the next. So it's not just pretty graphics, it's also practical. And okay, yes, it's also very pretty graphics. And speaking of visuals, up next is one of the features I'm most excited about: ultra-wide display support. The environments in Stellar Blade showcase some of its finest art, really selling humanity's prolonged struggle for survival. Buildings are crumbling, metal structures are rusted out, and the human safe areas are built into natural locations. Not to mention the numerous boss fights are between Eve, who is rather tiny, and some hulking monsters, who are rather large, meaning a wider view could give players an advantage when looking for an escape from their widespread attacks. Plus, the game just looks really good. But you might be wondering what kind of hardware you'll need to be rocking, and thankfully we have the specs right here. Let's not waste any time with the minimum and go right into the recommended, which is said to produce medium-style graphics, 60 frames per second at a resolution of 1440p. To reach this, you'll need an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 Super or an AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT graphics card, which honestly is a bit older than I was expecting, but hey, who's complaining? Shift Up is recommending 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that includes the minimum. Man, talk about a brand new era for memory. Now let's take a look at the CPU, and again it's skewing a little older than I would have expected, with an Intel Core i5-8400 processor or AMD Ryzen 5 3600X processor. And some especially good news for PC players: this trailer confirmed this version will support the DualSense haptic features found in the PlayStation 5. This is a really neat feature that, when done correctly, adds to the overall experience, especially the goofy fishing minigame. Hopefully this means other PC controllers with haptic feedback and triggers will be able to adapt these features, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Now let's say you've already played Stellar Blade on the PlayStation 5. Is there anything in this version that you haven't already experienced? Well, surprisingly, yes. With the brand new boss fight in the form of the head of the Sentinels, man, as well as lip sync for the Japanese and Korean voice acting, which means the characters' mouths will better match what they're saying, and 25 brand new outfits. Although knowing the modding community, it's sure to get pretty silly out there. Stellar Blade is releasing on PC on June 11th, 2025. But now I want to hear from you. Have you already played Stellar Blade? What's your favorite boss? And will you be double dipping on the PC release? And how about you newbies? Curious to take a slice from the Stellar Blade? Let me know in the comments below. Keep clicking around here at Game Rant, and we'll see you next time. Thanks everybody!